Hi, I'm Lee Kelso, and this is Health Call Live Online, the place for extended versions of interviews featured on our weekly radio broadcast, the Health Call Live Radio Hour. Our focus today is taking a look at a new book called The Skincare Hoax, and that title, I think, tells you a lot about what we're going to learn today. Dr. Fayne Frey is a dermatologist who says consumers are not being well informed and spending far more than we should on products that may not do everything they're advertised to do. So let's meet Dr. Frey and learn more about that situation. Doctor, thanks for joining us. So the skincare hoax, what's the number one message, the big takeaway from your book?
The skincare industry is a great industry, and it makes great products that are truly good for us, mainly sunscreens and moisturizers. Unfortunately, there is a lot of products out there that make claims that just aren't, they just don't come true. The most important information on a skincare bottle is the ingredient listing. And most consumers don't have the chemistry background to understand the chemistry ingredient listing. So it's a blind item that leaves room for marketing. And when you have a lot of marketing, there's confusion. And so my experience is the overwhelming majority of patients I see, women and men too, are very confused by the selection process of what they need, what they don't need, what should they buy, what they don't need to buy. And I compiled reasons to say what you need, and I put it in a book called The Skincare Hoax to advocate for the consumer.
Yeah, and your website also has a product selector to help people choose products wisely. And we're going to get to that a little bit later on. So I want to talk about skin itself. The top layers of my skin are actually dead. So what are these moisturizers going to do for me?
Well, the skin is a complex organ, but it's obviously the largest organ in the body. The very surface of the skin, as you said, the 20 top layers is a layer of skin the cells are not living, but they are functional. They actually regulate water control in the skin. But all that being said, these cells are not alive. You can't nourish them. We hear nourishing creams, and the skin is an amazing barrier. We're virtually waterproof. I mean, imagine we can swim in the ocean for hours, right? Nothing goes into us. Nothing comes out of us. You can wash dishes after a holiday meal. You scrub, you wipe your hands on a hand towel, and your hands are just the way you left them. So the skin is an amazing organ. It's an amazing barrier. And unfortunately, most of the ingredients that claim to do what they do as cosmetics, they can't penetrate through that layer. Again, so the claims aren't actualized.
Yeah, I read in your book that some people start the day by applying more than 500 different chemicals to their skin. Walk me through that.
Well, think about it. You use antiperspirant. You might use, women in particular, use makeup. You might take a shower and you're exposed to the cleansers. You're exposed to shampoo. There might be a conditioner. Men might add a shaving cream, a moisturizer, then there's sunscreen, and any given product can have between 20 and 50, sometimes 60 or 70 different ingredients. You do the math. You add it up, you get to about 500 chemicals a day.
And which of those are the really most important? When you talk about moisturizers, what are they actually doing to my skin?
Well, moisturizer is an interesting term. A moisturizer, most people think a moisturizer adds water to the skin. Lee, moisturizers don't add water to the skin. A well-formulated moisturizer, and I'm happy to tell you what that compiles, a well-formulated one, it creates an environment where the skin can maintain its own water. It minimizes water loss from the skin. So a great moisturizer is a barrier. It aids in a barrier, and it gives the skin an environment where it can increase its water content. And that's a little bit of a misnomer that people think, moisturizers add water to the skin, and they don't.
So does that then cause the skin to puff up, and is that why some claim to be able to resolve wrinkles?
Well, the major effect of most anti-wrinkle creams is its ability to moisturize. We should discuss the idea that these are cosmetics. And this is an idea that most consumers aren't aware of. In this country, we have laws. And the law in this country, in the United States, the FDA, they stated in 1938, I believe it was, there's a law that says a cosmetic is a product that intends to beautify. So lipstick and blush and even moisturizing, because it increases the appearance of skin just through water increase. But if a product intends to actually change the structure or the function of any particular organ, in this case, the skin, by law, it's defined as a drug. And that means it has to go through the FDA, and it has to get pre-market approval, and it has to prove safety, and it has to prove efficacy. And all the products that I talk about that I think aren't necessary are cosmetics, which by definition really don't intend to permanently change the skin. And most of these products are oil and water mixtures. As you know, oil and water don't mix. So we add emulsifiers that keep the product in suspension. Mm-hmm. And those would be the kinds of ingredients that you would see in the moisturizer component.
Okay, so those are all legitimate products that do something. I have another one here from CeraVe. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Moisturizes through the day, helps protective skin barrier with ceramides. What are ceramides?
Yes. Great question. So those 20 layers of dead cells that you have on the surface?
Yep.
They're wrapped in fat. And one of the fats that it's wrapped in, which is what keeps us waterproof, are ceramides. And so ceramides are a natural component of the top layer of skin, again, which keeps water from evaporating, and they're necessary. That particular ingredient you have in your hand has those ceramides in it, which is well and good. But my question is, while you're putting those ceramides on the top layer of skin, are they really penetrating into the layers of skin? It would be like having, that pink insulation that you have in your house between the walls.
Oh yeah, sure.
If you were to take, you know what I'm talking about, that fiberglass. Yep. Mm-hmm. If you were to take that fiberglass and stick it on your roof of your house, do you think it would do anything?
Nope.
Okay, it's a part of your house, and it's inherent in the house, and it's useful. It helps keep the house insulated. But I'm asking the question: is just putting it on the roof, is it helpful? Ceramides are a great component of skin, but I don't know that if you stick it on the skin, I'm not convinced that it's going to necessarily benefit in the skin itself. It's a great marketing ad, though. I mean, because what they're saying is true. It does contain ceramides.
And then you mentioned the hyaluronic acid previously. What is that stuff? I see it in lots of products.
Hyaluronic acid is a mucopolysaccharide. It's a sugar type that, again, is a lot of soft tissue in your body is comprised of hyaluronic acid, just like the ceramides. But it's a very large molecule. And getting that molecule through those 20 layers of skin would be like getting a Mack truck through the coffee shop door. It's just not happening. But when it's in a moisturizer, and it's not an inexpensive ingredient, in a moisturizer, it acts as a great humectant, meaning it holds a lot of water. And this is one of the ingredients in a well-formulated moisturizer that, again, helps the skin retain water, even when it's applied on the surface. But again, just to say, because it's in the skin and we use it, in my opinion, as good as a humectant as it is, I think it increases the price of products over a humectant like glycerin, which works very well and it's very inexpensive.
And then another product listed here is niacinamide, which isn't that a vitamin B complex?
Yes, it's a vitamin B. Again, it's used in the skin. I think niacinamide, of all the anti-aging ingredients, probably has the most research that says it might be beneficial, but the amount they add, and again, whether this product applied on the skin, on the surface, can really penetrate through 20 layers of dead tissue. It would have to then penetrate another 60 to 80 layers of more live tissue, penetrate what we have as a basement membrane, get into the deeper layers of the dermis where the wrinkles are. I'm not convinced, but it satisfies the claim of a product that says it's for anti-aging or age-defying, and it does do that.
Wow. Okay, so I just heard you say hyaluronic acid is one product that may have some potential benefit. You mentioned glycerin as another one that may have some potential benefits. What are other things that I should be looking for?
We need occlusives. We need the ingredients that are going to prevent the water from evaporating out of the skin. Petrolatum is probably the least expensive and probably the most effective occlusive. That's petroleum jelly. You can buy it a whole jar of it for very inexpensive, but they use it as a component of moisturizers.
So just glancing at this label, one other point, it says this product expired in May of last year. So does that really matter with a skincare product?
There's a whole debate whether it really matters. I tell my patients if a product is stored in a cool place and it's not in front of on a window pane and getting heat or stored in a hot car, I tend to say when products are made, they're formulated usually for 2-3 years of stability testing. I would try it if you don't see any colors on the rim, if it doesn't smell, if it's coming out in suspension. I have no problem with using it. But again, if you're going to buy a product, use it. If you don't use it, return it.
Yeah. So eye creams and night creams, are those anything specific, or is that just another name for a moisturizer product?
Yes. How well those work is basically how well they moisturize. Remember, these are cosmetics that by law can't really intend to change the skin. Night creams are my favorite. You know, those ingredients that in the night creams are the same ingredients that we use in the day creams. And I always joke, if you work the night shift, do you need a day cream?
Yeah.
it makes no sense. If the product is made in a factory in Australia and it's shipped here, is that going to confuse the product because it's night and day? It makes no sense to me. A night cream has no sunscreen in it because why would you want to apply sunscreen filters at night? And it's usually thicker. Women don't like to put on moisturizers that are thick in the morning because a lot of times they want to apply their makeup over it, and nobody wants to apply makeup on a thick and greasy base on the face from a moisturizer. Yeah. So night creams are usually thicker, but I think that's a kind of product that you can pass.
What about products with retinol and the vitamin A extract that's supposed to exfoliate the skin, and supposedly that fixes wrinkles? Do I have that right?
Well, the Retin A is the prescription. Tretinoin is a relative of retinol, and it's a magnitude stronger than retinol as a prescription. It is the gold standard anti-wrinkle cream, although the package insert on that product clearly says does not restore more youthful skin. Now you ask me about retinol, which is a much weaker vitamin A derivative. I don't think the benefits outweigh the risks of the product. A lot of people get scaly and irritated from it. And I don't think women who are advised to then use steroids on their face to control that inflammation. I don't buy into any product where you have to be applying a steroid on your face to control inflammation from a product to get rid of a wrinkle. And again, these retinol products are cosmetics. They're not intended to really get rid of the wrinkle. If you hydrate the skin, you might decrease the appearance of the fine line and wrinkle just by high hydration. Take a raisin, pump water into it, you have a grape. It looks better, but it is a temporary cosmetic.
Got it. Does price have anything to do with quality or effectiveness? I mean, I've seen stuff out there, $300, $500 a jar?
Oh, you are so right. I've seen $500 a jar. They're going up to $800 a jar. And if you think these average jars that are being sold are 1 ounce, that's about the size of a shot glass. You multiply it by 16, right? There's 16 ounces in a pound. You can get up to $8,000, $9,000 per pound. There's no correlation. It's a great question between how much you pay and how much a product works as a moisturizer. There's absolutely no correlation whatsoever. And I know this because I test them in my office with a machine called the corneometer. I actually have a machine to test water content of skin. The big companies, they have the resources to make quality, effective products that are available and affordable. So that's why I recommend them. With all that being said, Lee, if you have a lot of money and you like the packaging and you want to go buy a perishable for $8,000 a pound, who am I to stop you?
Yeah, it's a great country, right? You got that freedom to spend that dough any way you like. So your product selector on your website, if you go to fryface.com, FRYface.com, I'll of course put a link in the show notes there. You do have a product selector, and let's just take a quick look at that. So help me understand, is this designed to sell me a product, or what am I doing here?
So the intent of this was I had acne patients who were buying products and they were breaking out from them. Now, there is science. It's not great science. There's just not a lot of really good, valid science that determines which ingredients or combination of ingredients make people break out. But what I did do is as deep of a literature research as I could, and we found the ingredients that people with acne would be advised to stay away from. And if you look on this product selector, when you're picking product on the left, the user has the opportunity to select acne prone on the bottom where it says my skin conditions.
Okay, got it.
And when that when that prompt is selected, products that have one of the ingredients that we have tagged as stay away from are removed. So the intent of this website was to actually help my acne patients pick affordable products that they could use with a less of a concern that they would break out. And then we did the same thing for eczema, people with sensitive skin and eczema. There are ingredients where eczema patients should avoid. And that's how this got started. I don't sell anything. Amazon sells it. We do, as an affiliate, in full transparency, get a 4% affiliate fee when something is purchased through the site. But to date, we've just donated all that to a charity, a skincare charity.
Hey, that's great. Yeah. So here, for example, I selected a moisturizer for use on the face that is fragrance-free with a sunscreen for an acne-prone person. And what do you know? One of the products that we talked about earlier just happened to pop up. That's interesting. So all these products available, and you can click right through and order at Amazon. And I know you feel very strongly about some things, not so much about others. What's your thinking on the cleanser that I should use? How important is that as opposed to just, bath soap?
Well, cleansing in and of itself, I'm going to preface this by telling you hand washing. When you say cleansing, there is no doubt in my mind, based on research, the CDC, the World Health Organization, the process of hand washing has done more for preventing disease, especially gastrointestinal disease, and keeping people healthy than probably any drug on the market. But when you say cleansing the face, I cannot tell you there's any great science that people with healthy skin, and I'm not talking folks with acne or certain inflammatory conditions, people with healthy skin, there's no science that says you have to use a cleanser. I never put a cleanser on my face. And I did a survey in my office many years ago. We surveyed about 500 people. Half of the women that we surveyed never use cleanser on their face, and they have perfectly healthy skin. So do you need a cleanser? Well, if you're a woman who wears a lot of makeup, goes to bed at night and doesn't want to make her pillowcase dirty, then I'd suggest you use a cleanser. But if your makeup's worn off by the end of the day or you don't wear it, I'm not sure you have to use a cleanser. And with all that being said, a soap-free cleanser is mild on the skin, and you can select those on the product selector that you previously showed as well.
Yeah, I'll go back and do that. I like to work on old sports cars, and sometimes I'll come home, my hands are greasy and filthy, and I have found that my wife's makeup remover towelettes do the best job of cleaning my hands from automotive stuff, and I smell pretty too. So that tells me what about these products? That they're cutting oil and grease, right?
Yeah, a cleanser has a surfactant in it. That's an ingredient that surrounds the oil, the dirt, and it decreases the surface tension so that when the water comes along, it rinses it away. I'm not a huge fan of towelettes because you're really not washing anything away. You're just kind of wiping it onto a towel. So I actually just think water and a mild cleanser under the sink is ideal if you so choose to do that on your face. But we have whole cultural norms that we have to shower in these 5-step cleansing processes, an oil-based cleanser and a water-based cleanser and a toner and a astringent. And if you don't get the residue off, you do something else. Well, if you need all that, you're clearly using the wrong cleanser, in my opinion.
Yeah, I get that. One thing that I know you feel very strongly about, and that is sunscreen. So give us a quick education on selecting the right sunscreen and how to use it.
Sunscreen, in my opinion, is the single most effective product on the market to protect skin, to prevent sun damage, to prevent skin cancer. And I believe it should be used every day, liberally. We do it when we brush our teeth. We don't say, oh, geez, what am I eating today? Do I need to brush my teeth or not? We just brush our teeth. And I believe sunscreen should be the same on all exposed surfaces, face, ears, neck. I'm in New York, so this time of year, that's all that's exposed, really, except the back of my hands. And I believe it should be 30 or higher, and it should be put on liberally. If you can reapply it during the day, great. That would be ideal. Top, national and internationally known brands have the resources to make effective sunscreens. And I tell people, find one you like. I like the solid stick. Some people like a spray. Some people like a cream or a lotion. Find one you like and use it daily. You will thank yourself 10 years from now.
I get it. And you said you need to apply it liberally. As I recall, an ounce is about a shot glass worth. Nobody puts that much on, do they really?
That's what you would need if you were in a bathing suit on the beach.
Okay.
You would need a shot glass on an adult body. That would be the recommendation, and every 2 hours when you're on the beach, because you're going to have to reapply it because you're swimming and you're sweating.
Mm-hmm.
You clearly don't need that much on your face, your neck, and the back of your hands, but liberally so that you get the SPF that's listed on the bottle. If you don't use it, people ask me about what about makeup that has sunscreen in it. Well, you don't put on enough layers of makeup to actually get the SPF that it says on the makeup itself. So again, liberal application on a daily basis.
And does it matter 30, 15, 100? Do those numbers make a difference?
30 or higher is recommended. I happen to use a 70. I go higher. And again, that's so that if I do skimp a little bit and don't get the thickness I want, perhaps I get at least a 30. So if you're really going to get what's on the label, you have to put on enough. And most people don't put on enough, so they don't get the 30. If you pick a SPF 15 and you don't put on enough, you're only going to get an 8 or a 10. So that's why I suggest the higher the better.
Hey, you know what? I've enjoyed our conversation here today. Is there anything we didn't get to that you think we really ought to be touching on before we wrap this up?
No, I think you've touched everything. If I add anything, I just want this anti-aging campaign. You know, the marketing is powerful, Lee. And too many women feel bad about themselves because they're trying to fit into this unrealistic and unobtainable idea of beauty that marketing instills in us. And that's why I say like yourself for who you are. I'm all for good health, but good health isn't found in a syringe or a bottle. It's found in a good lifestyle, which includes a good night of sleep and a good diet and some exercise. And again, I don't have science to show this one, but I think laughter. I just think it's true. And sunscreen on a daily basis. If I can instill to most people out there that they're really good people the way they are, and they shouldn't buy into this cultural norm of beauty, I think we'd all be much better off.
Yeah, I think that sounds great. I'd add one more to the list. Educational health-related radio, I think, also is really important. So we'll go there. On the list. That is Dr. Fayne Frey. She is a dermatologist and the author of the book, The Skincare Hoax. It, of course, is available on Amazon, and I'll put links below to her product selector, which you will find on freyface.com. Doctor, thank you so much. Really enjoyed it.
Thank you for having me, Lee. Be well to you.